Hello all, I am Omeke, a capstone student of the University of Houston Foresight graduate program. Foresight is an action-oriented, transdisciplinary study that applies an array of unique methods. It's scientific and artistic, concrete and philosophical. Today I will further define foresight and tell you about one of my foresight projects. I can imagine that some 200,000 years ago, after the first Homo sapiens was singed by a flame created by a bolt of lightning, he quickly learned that it was not good. He grew an understanding of the world around him and his place in it. Later, he learned to maximize its utility, catalyzing its autopoietic or self-creating nature and learning to avoid its dangers, i.e., thinking about the future. We humans value mental acumen and application. We've learned to anticipate the future by prescribing assumptions to our lives, living in a state of perpetual anticipation. Before wise man was able to become the vessel for those lightning flames, he depended on predictions, hoping it would land on a nearby bush in order to harness it. Basking in our mastery of material, power, and technology can make us believe we know the future. Foresight is a focused and deliberately integrated approach to facing issues of the personal, the community, the corporate, and the world. The project that I will present today is entitled The Future of Pharmaceuticals in Education. During the modern era, America has used and abused stimulants. The pressures of high productivity and expectations of academic excellence began to push America to use biotechnologies in academia. In the 1960s, college students used dexedrine to pull all-nighters and increase concentration. 2012 surveys show that 8% of college students choose Adderall, Vyvanse, Ritalin, or modafinil as their drugs of choice, their study drugs of choice. These biotechnologies are not as addictive, nor do they have the harsh and widely known side effects of cocaine and Novocaine. 8 is a small percentage, but few students are willing to admit to taking a controlled substance without a prescription. In 1996, the FDA approved the use of Adderall, branded and produced by Shire plc. Additionally, modafinil, owned by Teva Pharmaceuticals, was released and approved in 1998. The drugs are used to treat attention deficit disorder, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, depression, and a number of sleeping disorders. But as more students attend universities, pressures and a sense of entitlement could compel students to use drugs just to keep up. Will these technologies be the answer for the underachiever and a mainstay for the overachievers of 2025? The use of stimulants dates as far back as 1500 years ago in Chile. In Colombia, warrior priests were buried alongside human sacrifices in coca leaves in gold ring bowls filled with limes. In 1499, upon arriving in Venezuela, Amerigo Vespucci testified that the natives carried 2 gourds, one filled with that herb, coca leaves, and the other with a white powder. The last 130 years has taught us that cocaine causes more harm than good. One of its most notable and first biotechnical application is as a local anesthetic. Amphetamines were widely employed by the armed forces in World War II and the Korean War and are still being used by the U.S. military today. The first is that they improve cognition in healthy individuals, not merely in people with Alzheimer's or other diseases. Adderall abuse is a convoluted problem with an eclectic group of factors contributing to the epidemic on its use on college campuses. Students start using Adderall and Ritalin for any number of reasons. Some students engage in abusive behavior to manage the academic pressures and family stressors. Others become involved for recreational purposes or to avoid the use of hard drugs. Major players in this sector of the biotech industry are Teva and Shire plc. Adderall and Vyvanse sales are upwards of $1 billion, and modafinil is projected to surpass the $1 million mark in 2013. Over the last decade, the use of Adderall and modafinil has risen by 53%. Quick diagnosis and study drugging and addiction can account for these numbers. The Obama administration has decreed the national educational focus to be on the more rigorous subjects like math, science, engineering, and technology. It's an ambition rooted in global competition. Students have more motivation than just good grades. Libby, a writing major at Columbia University, who received a diagnosis of ADHD in first grade, is a typical drug dealer. She often sells her 10 milligram tablets to strangers for $5 or barters them with friends for meals. She said that the attitude towards stimulants has changed drastically since her days in elementary school when she was forced by her parents to down a daily regimen of Ritalin. As a kid, I was made to feel different for taking these drugs, she said. Now it's almost cool to take them. Again, the Spanish explorers, like the pharmaceutical companies, have found a mainstay in American culture: magical substances. And again, legislature is 10 steps behind pharmaceutical developments. New drugs hit the prescribed market before the FDA has vetted and ensured its safety. However, it's a catch-22. If the FDA strenuously tests new and improved chemicals, it will delay the output and market for those who really need it. And again, college students will continue to feel the pressure of global competition and higher scores and accomplishments. Trend and historical analyses, combined with the collective opinion about the future of cognitive enhancers, help to create a vision or expectation about the future. The baseline doesn't mean that it will happen with certainty, but it gives the most accurate images of what those futures might look like. They are bookended by alternate futures and also one's vision or preferred future. One image of the future of cognitive enhancers is presented in the film Limitless that came out in 2011. It's a techno-thriller based on a sci-fi novel, The Dark Fields, written in 2001 by Alan Glenn. The story is about a young man who is a struggling writer suffering from writer's block. In an intense and dramatic turn of events, Eddie finds NZT, a cognitive enhancer, excels to the top of the financial market, wins an ex-girlfriend back, and makes life-threatening friends, all from taking a little pill every day. The technology has its drawbacks, but in the end it seems as though Eddie is a leading Senate candidate and future president. NZT is also very expensive. What's interesting is that the debate about the integrity of it all is at a low murmur. The dominating conversation is about the health concerns associated with abuse and improper dosages. If the people's voice don't begin to yell about this topic, big bank pharmaceuticals will continue cashing large checks, and using cognitive enhancers to improve performance will become normal instead of the exception. There is nothing wrong or immoral about making money, but lining political pockets to ensure large market shares through exclusive production is highly questionable at best. Achieving an appropriate and balanced regulatory policy by the United States Food and Drug Association is not without major challenges. The branch by itself will not be enough. A black market will persist, so universities and secondary schools have a heavy responsibility. They should educate the students of the legal webs and psychological perils that are associated with abuse and unlawful proliferation. Wesleyan University is leading the way though. In 2010, they enacted the Adderall Clause. The university keeps track of students with prescriptions for Adderall and modafinil. The students have to undergo an information session warning about the dangers behind usage. The next step in the whole issue is innovating the cognitive enhancing testing and methods. You can read the full report, recommendations, and alternative futures on my email address, omekealikor@gmail.com. Thank you.